My father took off when I was a couple weeks old and was raised in a single parent household, and actually was put in military boarding school starting in first grade, so I never really lived at home. The people in my life other than grandmother and aunt, were people in the different schools that I went to. It had a very profound effect on my development, and it motivated me strongly to want to be a good parent and to want to be someone who helped kids. Years ago, I was a juvenile public defender in the court system, and it was actually the favorite aspect of my law practice, because you got through to your clients, most of them, and you helped them. They made a stupid mistake, and they didn't want to be back in that situation again. And that was very satisfying. Someone else recognized for me the calling to be a judge first. One of the judges, a colleague of mine who's now retired, pulled me into his chambers and said, "You really ought to think about doing this, because you have the qualities that are necessary to do it." He told me I would make a really good judge. I thought about that quite a bit. It's a lot of work. It's very hard decisions. What parent gets the children in a divorce, and whether someone gets life in prison or 60 years in prison or whatever it happens to be. Those are kind of challenging decisions. And it took a lot of introspection to see if I was willing to make those kind of calls in other people's lives. I came to the conclusion that if I really liked public service, and if I really liked to help people when they were down, that there probably wasn't a better way to do it than the judicial route. I had another conversation with him, and we talked about it, and then the Judicial Merit Selection Commission in Minnesota contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested in applying. So I did. There were a number of times that I questioned the calling. I questioned the calling because of the adverse impact it was having on my children. I questioned the calling because sometimes I didn't know the answer, and I was supposed to be the person who knew the answer. It takes a while to recognize that you're going to learn something new every day for the rest of your life when you're being a judge. It's a very odd job to be a judge, because 50% of everybody who comes in front of you thinks you're an idiot because they didn't win. But you get a lot of people who send heartfelt thank yous. Even people that I have convicted and sent to prison. I think I stick with it because it is a calling. You just kind of know deep inside you that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I believe that God has a plan for all of us. I think we're free to screw it up, but that if we're following that plan and listening to the messages that He's giving us, that it works. Where my faith comes into play every day is to remember, for 95% of the people appearing in front of me, it's one of the biggest things in their life, if not the biggest thing in their life. They're charged with a crime, they're in the middle of a divorce. I rely on my faith to remind me that a judge is supposed to be compassionate, and that I'm supposed to be patient and treat people with respect at all times. I would suspect that everybody has a calling. Maybe a lot of people ignore that. Other things win. Maybe it's money or the biggest house or whatever that might prevail in that decision-making point. But I think if you listen to your heart, I think that God is putting that message in you. I would say that you need to go someplace quiet and serene, and you need to just sit down and empty your mind about all the things that pressure all of us every day, and just sit back and think about what makes you happy and what makes you feel like you're accomplishing something. If it's your calling, you will know that you understand you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's just a really good feeling to have. It makes you believe there's a divine being who's trying to make things work out okay.